Welcome to another episode of Star Wars Talk. I'm John Barry, and today I'm going to be reviewing the last 3 episodes of Star Wars Resistance. So, the episodes in question are the Doza Dilemma, the First Order Occupation, and the New Trooper. The last episode I had reviewed was Dangerous Business, and the 3 since then, they all connect together, so I thought it would be important for me, especially since I got them behind a little bit, just to do one video and do it together, because they all really connect. I feel like each one is a separate day in the same week. Like, that's how close I feel and connected. All these episodes, of course, are getting more connected as well. The New Trooper is the most recent one, and I am making this review right after watching it. And I do also want to say that this review is unscripted. I am doing so to get through them quicker, but let's actually get into the review itself. But first, if you find yourself enjoying this review at any time, please leave a like. Also, to stay up to date on all my non-YouTube stuff, consider following me on Twitter or Facebook. I also update things about my YouTube stuff as well. You can also check out my website or my Discord server. Links are in the description. And my question for you today is, what did you think of these 3 episodes of Star Wars Resistance? Let me know in the comments down below. Now let's head back to the review itself. So, just to kind of recap, in the Doza Dilemma, the First Order hires the pirates to capture Captain Doza's daughter. Her name slips my mind, but to capture her and then to pressure Captain Doza into letting the First Order put the security force on the station. And of course they fake rescue Captain Doza's daughter so that they will look more legitimate and looking out for the platform's best interest in the eyes of Doza, who is still suspicious even during the most recent episode of the New Trooper. In the First Order Occupation, it picks up off of the plot lines in the Doza Dilemma, especially with Sonara, and of course she helped the pirates kidnap Captain Doza's daughter, but at the same time she also helped Kaz partially rescue her as well, even though the First Order got there first. But Kaz would have rescued Captain Doza's daughter if it wasn't for the First Order staging the entire thing. But in the First Order Occupation, the First Order now have a decent security force. TIE fighters are coming more frequently, and they are looking for a spy. They're specifically looking for the pirate spy, because they don't necessarily know about Kaz, but they know about Sonara, because they were allied with the pirates, and Sonara could potentially reveal to the Colossus that the First Order hired the pirates, and they don't want that. So that's kind of what we deal with in that episode. We also learned that most people are actually kind of okay with the First Order. But in the new Trooper, we're seeing the people in the station are getting unsatisfied with the First Order, and we really learn why the First Order is so interested in the Colossus. And the reason being is revealed at the end of the episode, which I think is a very good reasoning. Colossus Station can be a point in a military supply line. Makes sense. And also we get to see more, and as I said in the New Trooper, we get to see more characters realize that the First Order is not as well-intentioned as they once thought. Tam also is seeing that the First Order is not as well-intentioned as she first thought. Where she lies she's probably in the questioning stage, like, is the First Order really all that good? But you can see other residents of the Colossus clearly are knowing that the First Order is not so good. Of course, Kaz knows it for sure. We know Yigo, which makes sense. Yigo was part of the rebellion. He knew the Empire. Tam has only heard stories. Same with Niku and Kaz. But Kaz knows where his loyalties lie, pretty much. He was in the New Republic military, so he probably had basically military history training, and so he knew what what the Empire had done. Like the classified stuff, you can even say. So the stuff most people don't know. And with Nico knows how hard the Empire was on aliens, from experiences family had, so he's kind of got that knowledge as well. And I have a feeling that he could he won't have he's okay with the First Order as long as they don't cause trouble. And he sees First Order cause trouble, you can tell that he's done with. Which is kind of not a bad way in looking at any group, as you'll find with them until they start causing trouble. Not a bad way of looking at things as a whole. But so yeah, the new Troopers is a definitely interesting episode, and of course, it won't be a Star Wars if all the good guys dressing up as the bad guys. In New Hope, you had Han and Luke dressed up as Stormtroopers, and here Kaz dresses up as a Stormtrooper. Come to think of it, Kanan and Ezra also dressed up as Stormtroopers. Pretty much the only main character who hasn't dressed up as a Stormtrooper in specific eras was Obi-Wan, but then again, how can he dress up as a Stormtrooper when they didn't exist yet? But pretty much in each era so far, a major character either has been a Stormtrooper or has dressed up as a Stormtrooper. So it's kind of interesting where that's going, and that is just a neat dynamic, really going undercover and that just makes some interesting storytelling. And then we see Kaz's goofiness versus his non-goofiness on display in this episode. We can know Kaz is definitely goofy. He's not that comfortable with being a spy. That's clear. He's not comfortable being undercover. But at the same time, he knew how to act militarily. He knew how to act that way. And that, I think, is kind of good to see that when, piloting, he's confident in the cockpit. He is, military stuff. He can be confident military personnel. He's just not a good spy. He's not the best mechanic. But I did like the contrast because it showed that he can do it. He just doesn't know how to do it, if that makes sense. He can be a spy. He just doesn't know how to be a spy. And being undercover is totally different than being a regular spy. Which is a nice dynamic to see for sure. There's not too much, but we can definitely see where the First Order plot is going, and who knows where it will go, but we can see where it's going. The First Order will take control of the station. That is a guarantee. Captain Doza obviously will not be approving of it, because you can tell. We actually get a little more hints about Doza being a former Imperial, and why he left. He just said for personal reasons that Commander, I want to say Fire, but I think it's not. But the gold-plated Stormtrooper Commander wouldn't understand. That's what Captain Doza said about the reason why he left the Empire. So I want to know more about Captain Doza and why he left the Empire. I also would like to see some more from Ego, but Ego has some good moments there too. But yeah, we're definitely seeing a lot more how the people who are recognizing the problems of the First Order are the people who remember the Empire. The people who don't remember the Empire don't necessarily see a problem with the First Order. And of course, so that is what we're getting to see. And people who have not been on the receiving end of First Order brutality too. So yeah, and of course we get more hints about Stormtrooper conditioning and education and all that in here, how they essentially use the term program. They literally call the conditioning programming. So that's kind of neat as well, kind of more alluding to that, and how so the idea that Stormtroopers need to be reconditioned, reprogrammed, and this is before Finn defected. And so these things do happen. So a lot of fans have speculated that there could be a Stormtrooper rebellion in episode 9. This episode, the new trooper does support that by the idea that you have to, that it's not unheard of to have to reprogram to recondition a soldier. That is not, this episode established that's not unheard of. Maybe not common, but certainly not rare. So that gives it some credence that there could be a Stormtrooper rebellion in episode 9, which would help bring the First Order down, because the Resistance, even after at least hopefully a year, probably could not take down the First Order. But that's a different topic, really. But yeah, these episodes, all three of these episodes were good episodes. They really advanced the First Order plot. Star Wars Resistance is really hitting its stride now with these episodes, in my opinion. Dealing with the First Order, and you're starting to see a continuing story. That's actually probably the problems I had with Star Wars Rebels in the first season. You had a continuing story, but it felt they tried too much to do balance connected story and anthology. And I feel like the first half of Season 1 of Resistance was that they didn't know the balance. When they focused more on continuing arc, they seem to do better. So I hope they continue really delving into the First Order narrative, and I think they have to at this point. They can't just go back to normal platform life. The best they can do, which I think they probably do, is normal platform life with the First Order. That is probably what's going to be done. So maybe something about the races or something. That probably would be a good episode to see next, because it would expand on the idea of what the First Order is doing to inconvenience and to occupy the station. And of course we got Captain Phasma's name drop, and she's bringing in a detachment to take full control of the station, pretty much. That's what it's going to be. So we're seeing what's coming on with the First Order, and I really like where it's going, and I can't wait to see where it takes us, really. So thank you for watching this video. This video is helped made possible by my patrons on Patreon. Patreon is a platform that allows fans to directly support their favorite creators. By supporting me on Patreon for as low as $1 a month, not only are you supporting me and allowing me to create new and better content, but you get access to my scripts, my bloopers, and any other cut content from my channel. Now, as I said, this video is unscripted, so there won't be any script available to my patrons, unfortunately. But when I do have a script, it will be there. Just right now, for time's sake, I'm just doing in a way off the cuff, one take. So thank you for watching this latest video. New videos come out every week, so consider subscribing and turning on notifications if you actually want to be notified by YouTube of when I release new content. Also, feel free to check out the video or the playlist on screen now. Lastly, have a good day, a good night, wherever you are. May the Force be with you, always.